Project Green School Education is a promotion of sustainable use of cultural and natural heritage and resources. Project code 15.2.1001. The project is co-financed by the European Union through European Regional Development Fund under the Intergraph 5A Romania-Bulgaria program. The content of this movie does not necessarily represent the official position of the European Union. To wake up before sunrise in order to collect the most curative herbs. Herbs washed in the dew and having magical power. This will happen in just one day of the year in Bulgaria, St. Anius Day. It is celebrated on 24th of June when it is the heat of the summer, on the longest day of the year, and afterwards the sun changes its path. According to the folk beliefs, the magic power of the water is the strongest, and now the power of the sun is focused on the herbs and the reeds made of them. Water is an important part of life, and it's involved in almost all rituals and fortune-telling that are related to the festive rituals of Midsummer Day. On this day, the sun wakes up early and prepares for the long way. It bathes in live water and turns back rejuvenated. The water achieves a specific magical power in the night before the feast. The roots of St. Anius Day could be found far back in ancient times, just as these of Christmas and St. George's Day, but St. Anius Day has the strongest pagan roots. The beliefs of our ancestors were mainly connected to the cult towards the sun. The customs are connected to the sun and the water. Early in the morning, on the meadows, the children greet the sunrise with flowers and herbs in order to honor the feast. They bathe in the dew and take part in the ritual picking of herbs. Herbs for health are picked on St. Anius Day. It is believed that they're the most healing on this particular day. Exactly because of the sun's rays and the fact that it shines the most on this day, it is believed that after the sunrise, the herbs are not that curative because the sun's magic and power start to fade. It is obligatory to collect the ladies' bed straw and various other herbs. The herbs collected for the winter must be 77.5, and they heal all diseases and the nameless disease. It is important to pick the herbs on the meadow with your eyes closed. Before the sunrise, the children go to the meadow to collect herbs and try to predict the future. If the sun shivers or twitches, it means that they will be healthy throughout the year. And another ritual, right at sunrise, they turn towards the sun and watch their shadow over the shoulder. If it's completely outlined, then they will be healthy again. The other thing we do is walking barefoot on the dewy grass. This is related to the belief that the last day when the sun is the biggest it could possibly be. It bathes in the waters, and the water that drops is actually the dew, which is curative, and whoever walks on top of it, he or she will be healthy. In the pagan consciousness of the ancient Bulgarians, Midsummer Day is connected to the cult of the sun, the solar magic, and the heavenly fire. The stars descend on the earth and mumble incantations to the herbs in order to make them more healing. This is the feast of healers, herbalists, and all of those that entrust their hopes to the natural gift, the herbs. There is no other way of the calendar which is connected with so many superstitions and legends about witches, wood nymphs, magicians, and mermaids. And with the collected grasses, flowers, and herbs, they twine a big wreath and everybody passes through it for health. The wreath is a magical symbol. It brings happiness and protects from evil. It's also preserved and used for healing. It is believed that on St. Agnes Day, as well as early in the morning on St. George's Day, the herbs have a special healing power. This is why people collect them. St. George's Day is one of the greatest festive days in the Bulgarian folklore calendar during the year and the most respected spring feast, which is celebrated on the 6th of May. St. George is the patron saint of farmers and stock breeders, and this is why the tradition is to slaughter a lamb on this day. A lamb must be slaughtered in every house, no matter if the homeowner has sheep or not. The ritual selection of the animal, its preparation to be sacrificed, and the sacrifice itself are different in separate regions. After the roasting of the lamb, it has to be taken to the church and it can be sanctified, and only then it can be served on the festive table. For centuries, on this day, people get together in the local temple in the village of Koplovci, Montana area. People bring roasted lambs in the church and also the posy flowers, Veronica, Celine and Cranesbill, which symbolizes the health and represents the wish for abundance of cattle, and it also protects the cattle. And another important thing about this feast was that we observed that leftover bones from the roasted lamb are not dumped. They have to be buried near the sheep pen. This is done with the purpose to prevent the loss of cattle, and if a sheep is lost, to come back to the pen. The ritualism of St. George's Day has its specifics in the different parts of Bulgaria, but its basic elements are implemented just about everywhere. The ritual slaughter of the St. George's Day lamb, the kneading of ritual breads, the picking of flowers and herbs, and the festive table that is placed on picturesque meadows out of the village are being carried out all over the country, and all of them are related to the hope that the farming year will be healthy, fertile, and cleaned of evil forces. The feast of St. George's Day is celebrated by everyone on the village of Koplovci, Montana area. People bring roasted lambs, ritual breads, cheese, milk, pies, and fresh green garlic at the church. The table is consecrated and the feast starts. Even today, St. George's Day is the biggest spring feast that is celebrated by the Bulgarian with respect to the traditions of his ancestors. We bring the lambs, the Easter eggs, small flat loaves, wheat, wine, and then afterwards the priest sings for health. People have chosen St. George to be the protector of farmers and stock breeders, and mostly the protector of shepherds and herds. This is how the Christian with pagan consciousness creates its saint hero, St. George the Conqueror. St. Martyr George was born in Cappadocia. We call him the Conqueror because he was dedicated to military service. He served under Emperor Diocletian. All his victories happened because of his faith in Christ. He was a protector of the sick, the poor, the outcasts. He did not serve the emperor, but he served the heavenly King, Jesus Christ. Saint Martyr George was famous for his brains, manhood, and physical strength. When he started his military service, he became the favorite of Emperor Diocletian. When the persecutions of the Christians began, he gave away his possessions to the poor and declared himself a Christian before the emperor. George was then arrested and tortured, but he withstands all tortures and does not deny his faith. He was sentenced to death. Handed over for the torture, Saint George answered, "You will get tired to torture me, but I will not get tired to endure it." This is why we consider him brave, a fighter, because with the faith of Christ, he was defeating the evil spirits. There are two types of images of George the Conqueror in the Orthodox tradition. His face is being depicted in the first one, and in the other type, the saint is riding a white horse while killing a dragon. The next great hero of the Bulgarian heroic epos is Crăli Marcu. He is beloved by the whole Bulgarian nation. His strength and courage are praised in hundreds of songs and stories, and the legends about him are wrapped with the idea of superpowers and send us to fantastic worlds. The hero struggles and defeats strong adversaries, fearsome monsters and dragons. Marcu is not only the only exceptional hero. His sword cuts wood and stones, his mace weighs half a ton, and his horse is unusual. It speaks, it has wings, he can fly and fight. The hero and his horse are one. Even today, the names of sites and settlements called after the fearsome warrior are still kept. There are sites bearing the name Marcu Camăc, Marcu's Stone, or Marcu Băir, Marcu's Hill, in almost all villages in the valley of Augusta River. The site, Marcu Camăc, nearby the village of Vladimirovo, Montana area, that is situated on a height on the right bank of Augusta River. There is an enormous stone, the stone of Crăli Marcu in the village of Stubel. There are big round stones in this village. Old people say that Crăli Marcu threw them instead of cannonballs. But the legend about the site called Sopovo, next to the village of Stojanovo, is the vicinity of Vârșeț, is more interesting. A beautiful iron bridge was built there in the 19th century by Italian engineers. There was a wooden bridge in this place that was frequently swept away by the lush waters of the river. There around this bridge there are big rocks, and oud nymphs live inside and hibernate. The superstitions say that the blood of the oud nymphs was just like the one of the snakes, and with their awakening, they get mad at the people who are going there to do the laundry. This is where 16 full-length mills, places where people used to wash their carpets, were situated. Legends say that the oud nymphs were angry. They were causing floods and the destruction of the wooden bridge. This is why they made an iron bridge in the 19th century. People used to say that everyone who's connected to the water and the folk magic of the herbs sees and hears the oud nymphs. So Crăli Marcu and the oud nymphs are invariably associated with each other, and there is not a single legend where the oud nymphs do not participate together with Crăli Marcu. Crăli Marcu is so connected with the folk songs and tales that his life as a real historical figure seems a bit paradoxical. But people needed a new brave hero who can save and protect them from the ferocious conquerors. Back then, legends and sagas were born that tell us about events which are not historically proven. The most ancient beliefs are related to the Thracian god Horseman. The Thracian horseman is the most famous deity of our ancestors. This nameless god is known with the name Heros. The Thracian Heros is a god horseman, but there is no reason to insist that his character is based on the life story of a real ruler that has once lived. He is a combination of a hunter, a king, a god. He embodies the three beliefs of the Thracian people in all that he is. Over 3,000 votive tiles have been found with his image always on a horse. The basic scene depicts him while he's attacking and killing animals with a spear on the back of his horse. In the oldest images, these are even people. This is related to the beliefs of the Thracians that they have to defeat the adversary to defend their home and auditorium. The Thracians consider the horse a mediator between the worlds. With the help of the horse, you pass a certain path, real or allegorical. With his help, the Heros has the capacity to move and pass freely through set or imposed boundaries. A very typical image of the god horseman was revealed on the biggest of the cups in a treasure that was discovered in 1972 in the lands of the village of Iachimovo, Montana area. The Iachimovo treasure is made of gilded silver. It consists of 4 silver cups with the shape of a truncated cone, a silver dish with 2 handles, cantharos, 2 round appliques, two massive silver bracelets that have the shape of snake heads, a bronze dish with a silver band, and fragments of other bronze dishes. Today, the rescued finds are stored in the Regional History Museum in the town of Montana. The water, the sun, the mysterious keepers of springs, the picking of herbs in the night, and the hero protector are the unified essence and the preserved elements of the ancient Thracian ritualism as represented in the Christian customs. This is why all this should be seen in person, to plunge your feet in the dew, to hear the legend about St. George and visit the mystical site along which someone has once seen wood nymphs. Project Green School Education as a promotion of sustainable use of cultural and natural heritage and resources. Project code 15.2.1001. The project is co-financed by the European Union through European Regional Development Fund under the Intergraph 5A Romania-Bulgaria program. The content of this movie does not necessarily represent the official position of the European Union.